Well, to talk to us more on the floods, I'm joined in studio on this side of the studio by our SABC News meteorologist, Mduduzi Mthembu. Thank you very much, Mdu, for joining us. So, how unusual are these very serious torrential rains in the South African context? Did you see it coming?
Yes, I can confidently say that we did see it coming. Actually, at the beginning of the season, we do issue seasonal forecast, which was showing that we are going to get above normal rainfall for this time of the year. It started earlier in the spring season, now we're in the summer season, and we're still going to get even more chances of heavy rainfall in places. So
we're going to get more rainfall. Over what sort of time period are you expecting us to continue experiencing this?
So the driving systems that are causing all this rainfall are still in force, meaning we'll get this rainfall for the remainder of the summer season, meaning our summer will probably be rained out like the previous 2 summers. What is currently happening is the cooling of the tropical Pacific Ocean far away from us. Those cooling conditions is called La Nina. It results, for us here in South Africa, mostly it results in above normal rainfall. The opposite of that, we are expecting it to start kicking in by the beginning of the autumn season, meaning that by then we'll start to see the rainfall decreasing, which is actually expected because going to this autumn and winter, we not really get a lot of rainfall in South Africa. So what I'm saying is the rainfall that we've been receiving is normal for this time of the year. The only problem is that if the infrastructure is not in good shape itself, the rainfall makes it seem as if it's more, even though it is more, but because of the infrastructure not being in good conditions, it results in the damages to be more glaring like it is.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you next, is that nature is doing its thing, whether it's driven by climate change or whatever it may be, but we just don't seem to be prepared as South Africa for these type of weather events, such that we're seeing massive damage at informal places and even formal structures where properties are being flooded and so on, our roads being extremely damaged, and we never know when the municipalities are going to intervene in time to actually fix the damage that's been made. So this is a problem because these are issues that cannot be fixed overnight. So it means that as we continue to experience these events, we're going to continue seeing more and more damage.
Yes, you know, when people are talking about climate change, they are actually trying to tell the people to try and make means to mitigate the effects of the climate that is changing. You'll remember that in the past, there were not a lot of observation stations that were able to capture what is happening on the ground. Also, there were not a lot of people that were in the country, like the population was quite less. So now you have more people, which means it increases the vulnerability. You also have climate change, but then people are not doing any means to mitigate the effects of the climate change. So what we are seeing now is the fact that there is more exposure now to knowing what is happening where, but also people are quite vulnerable. So government actually needs to meet us halfway. We, the weather forecasters, are there to predict the conditions. We are able to do that. We have the skill, we have the technology to do it, but we are not met halfway by the, say, government, for instance, to try and improve the infrastructure. Storms are usually a very minor thing to the environment if the storm drainage systems are in working order. But if the storm drainage systems are not in good shape, they are clogged with all the dirt and debris, then it becomes a problem. Even a small storm can cause quite a huge damage. I'm not saying that the one that happened in Florida is because they didn't clean. I'm just saying that if the conditions are prepared ahead of the storms.
Yes.
Yesterday, I was here working and I did issue a warning for possible heavy rainfall that may lead to localized flooding. It didn't happen as quick as I had forecast, but it did happen overnight. And for today, we are also warning that the storms are developing. There is a system that is in place developing right now. It's called a cutoff low pressure system. It will result in heavy rainfall in places, especially over the central Karoo. If you remember, a few weeks ago in Laingsburg in the Western Cape, there was quite a lot of flooding that happened there. So the ground is still saturated with water. So any amount of rainfall that will fall out of these storms that are developing may also lead to localized flooding. In this sense, I'm saying that people must be prepared. If you have a car that is parked outside, or you plan to travel at night or in the early hours of the morning when the road is wet or flooded, you might have to decrease your speed or even take other precautions that will help you not be affected as much in terms of these storms.
Mdu, thank you very much for giving us an outline of what's happening with the weather systems. My colleague there, Mdu.